two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me, and Justin Brown for your movie needs. Medium popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo.
What is up, little biscuits and sun-dried tomatoes? It's your boy, Eddie Collins.
Guys, and this is Justin Brown.
And we are Medium Popcorn, niggas spoiling movies. And today we have another Patriot guest, Mr. Ali. How you doing, sir? Super fan.
I'm good. What's up, y'all? How's everything?
You know, we live in a dream out here, you know, one day at a time. If this is it, if this is fucking it.
Appreciate y'all for having me.
Absolutely, man. You've been a long time fan. But yeah, living the dream. Justin just said that so resigned. Like he's like Paul Rudd of the set of Ant-Man 3. Like, I guess I'm living the dream. But this is
I guess this is it.
And what'd you say, Ali?
Oh no, Ant-Man, like you said, Paul Rudd. Is this it? Go ahead.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
is this it?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I asked at the end of this movie. I was like, is this what we were waiting for? Like what? Because I was told, based on all the advertisements, they're like, this is going to be the game changer for MCU.
Yeah.
All bets are off, y'all. Oh, shit, Jonathan Majors is back. And then literally, like, I feel like nothing changed. From the beginning to the end, nothing really changed except...
Okay.
Yeah, nothing. Nothing changed.
I'm just going to jump into this and just say that this felt like a low-level Star Wars movie.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, because like if you put it like, you know, once what's her damn name?
Hope.
Once Hope, you know, jumps. No, not Hope. Oh my God.
Talking about Cassie, the daughter.
No, the mother. The mother. I'm sorry.
God.
No, bro. This movie is one of those. I'm just like, do I care?
Well, Janet Van Dyne, who is played by Michelle Pfeiffer, I mean, like she's a big part of the story, and clearly was getting dicked out by Jonathan Majors, right?
Really?
They were definitely fucking during that time together.
Well, apparently she was fucking Bill Murray's character.
Yeah, before she found King, though. That's the thing, is she was hooking up with him, and then she found King. Remember, she rescues him at the beginning. Actually,
no. Actually, I think that she was getting dicked down by Kang first, and then everything went awry, and then she became like a part of the resistance against Kang. But then she started catching that fucking that Murray dick.
Yep. Okay. I mean, there was a lot of like old white celebrities in this movie where I'm like, why are they doing this? Like, why this movie? You know what I mean? I felt the writing, and this is probably like a Rick and Morty TV writer, which I guess they like hired probably because of the multiverse experience, but this is not a fun time. There's nothing interesting about this movie.
All right, so hold on. Let me just run back really quick, because like when Michelle Pfeiffer, when she gets back in there and they go to the bar and you got all the weird like alien looking people and things like that, it felt just like straight up fucking Star Wars. Like I felt like I was watching a Star Wars movie for most of this film. Even just like with, you know, like just everything, it just felt more Star Wars than a Marvel film. And then, you know, you just have Ant-Man in here, and it was just a blah film. It was just blah.
Yeah. Ali, what were your thoughts?
It did really feel like Star Wars when they were talking to Bill Murray's character. That definitely felt like Star Wars, the whole, you know, ordering your dreams and the different languages. I did like the scenery though. You know, it was shot. I did like how it looked visually. You said it was subpar. I do agree. There was a lot that happened, but then like nothing happened because Jonathan Majors doesn't pop up until almost like halfway into the movie, and I'm like, okay, like when is Kang popping up? You know, And then I didn't get the power dynamics. There's a few things I didn't understand in the book.
Yeah,
Because
for sure. Like you really don't. So like, especially like Brandon, what you said earlier, like they built Kang up. It's like, oh, this is gonna be change or whatever, and it's just like, where he got his
Nothing
ass whooped by
happened.
fucking
Ants.
by Lang.
No, he just got beat up by ants. Remember, they carry him away, and then he just had. It's so.
I mean,
like,
ants are fucking strong as fuck though. And then you
Oh, yeah,
you're also their size. Like that's that's and there was millions of those motherfuckers.
Yeah, but I hated that whole Hank Pym is feeling like he senses the presence of the ants. Like they have Michael Douglas be like, I like ants. And I'm just like, he's an Oscar winner. Like, why are they making him do this? Remember when he's driving the little spaceship and he puts his hands in that gel thing? I was like, bro, he won an Oscar for Wall Street. What? They must be paying him all the money to pull this off because that was so bad.
It looks like he put both of his hands in a fleshlight and his hands are being sucked off as he's fucking flying. Like that's how it was going. That's what it looked like.
It was he's probably drugged up.
Possibly. All I know is like those fucking things were just like fucking like it's probably one of those rotating ones that rotate and shit like that. He was probably feeling good, getting a nice little massage on his hands.
I mean, I will say that I feel like Michael Douglas, he had more energy than Paul Rudd at times. And so I feel like he definitely did like a bump of coke between every take just to get that energy up to be like, all right, I'm Hank Pym fucking around with spaceships and ants. Like that's my career now. I really had a problem with the Cassie character. And it's also in UVS research, the actress from Endgame who played Cassie found out she was replaced by old girl from the movie with Vince Vaughn, the horror film Freaky.
Yeah.
She found out that she was replaced through social media, bro.
That sucks.
And this is the performance we got from that young actress, which was not good. She has perpetual poo face, and her character was incredibly annoying.
Yeah.
Like when the whole catalyst for them getting into quantum realm is because she fucked around and found out. She was like, I found a way to get into the quantum realm. Just like out of all the stories that Grandma Violet or Hope or whatever Janet's name, Janet, Grandma Janet, which is crazy that the daughter's calling Hank and Janet Grandma and Grandpa.
Yeah,
because I'm like, wait, when Ant-Man and the Wasp get married?
Yeah.
And so like I was just frustrated by that. My biggest issue is that the trailer hyped up a movie that we ultimately did not get. There's a compelling story in that trailer where King is like, you lost so much time with your daughter to Paul Rudd because of what happened in Endgame, right? He lost like 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, I can give you that time back. That's an emotional hook that for me, after watching several Ant-Mans and seeing Endgame, I'm like, okay, I can fuck with that because that's what we've been talking about a lot since the blip. We're like, where's the real story of dealing with the trauma of missing 5 years out of someone's life? Apparently they were going to do that with Black Panther 2, but they presented it for here, and I'm like, okay, cool. What's this going to be? And then nothing comes of it.
Yeah, it was just a line.
That's it. Even you're an Avenger. Have I killed you before? Nothing after that.
Because he literally got taken off the screen by a bunch of ants and then lost in a fist fight to fucking Paul Rudd. Like what?
Exactly. As far as the power goes, when they were in the cells, he's using his fingers to lift them up and turn them, and do all that. He's freezing Janet with his fingers, and then when there's the battle at the end of the movie, I'm just like, why didn't he use any of this? Why didn't he freeze them? Why didn't he? I just didn't understand his power.
Well, but even so, if you think about that, is like, oh, so he's just Darth Vader. It's just Star Wars. It's nothing but Star Wars. And now Yuvia put in the chat that this is actually the first film that Paul Rudd didn't have a writing credit on. So basically, it just sounds to me like they just went away from the script for the first two, because the first one was fun. The second one was great, and then this one it just feels flat.
No, for me, these have just gotten worse. I thought the second one was very blasé. I thought it was very like light stakes that didn't really have an impact on the MCU. This one just like was nonsensical. Like the quantum realm. So essentially, you're telling me that there's a bunch of humanoid type beings in the quantum realm that also like gather together in an army inspired by Cassie Lang. When she had that hologram speech, I was like, this is so lame.
Yeah.
Who
Again.
approved this? Kevin Feige, where are you?
No, again, Star Wars. That whole thing was Star Wars, bro. This is nothing but a Star Wars film. This is a shitty Star Wars film. That's what it is.
I mean, but what worse graphics though? That's the thing too. Like Ali, I know you say that you thought it looked good. I saw this in IMAX. I thought it looked terrible at times. I thought the CGI was really, really rough at parts. And MODOK, I hated that. Like I hated I thought it was cool bringing Corey Stoll back, but like, you know, the whole thing with Cass, like, it's never too late to not be a dick. And I was just like, what? Is this a kid's movie? What is this?
Yeah. That was kind of weird. That was the whole MODOK thing was kind of out of control.
It didn't look good either. The CGI just was not good.
Well, I mean, but then again, at the same time, how do you make someone's face stretched across, you know what I'm saying? Like a stretched out face. How do you make that kind of look good? I mean, it's like, and it's also like that character really didn't pay off because, you know, that character from the comics, like I remember that character from the comics and like he was at least a bit of a problem, but, you know, he spent this entire movie chasing a little girl around. It's just like, bro, like, dude, like the person you have issue with is fucking Scott Lang. He's literally right there. Why are you fucking with his daughter? Go after him.
Yeah. Also, how come Janet didn't just tell everybody about Kang in the first place? Like, like she kept a secret throughout half the movie, and it's kind of like, why? You're the one who holds all the knowledge to help us successfully navigate this situation, and you won't tell us just because we're gonna find out that you fucked a Negro? Is that the whole thing? Because that's ultimately what she's telling all these white people, like, hey, I knew this guy, and she's trying not to keep, like, she's trying to keep out the biggest factor. I was expecting her to be like, I had relations. No, I had entanglements with King, and we might have had some entanglements spawn in the quantum realm. I was expecting there to be some mulatto babies in the quantum realm. That's how you get all the Kangs, because they had all those babies. King Dynasty, because he fucking. I would have fucked Michelle Pfeiffer. Come on.
She looked good. She looked good.
She always looks good.
Yeah, she looked good. Great.
Even when they tried to make her not look good, she was in that Valentine. Was it New Year's Eve? What movie was it? Was she was supposed to be with Zac Efron? They give us New Year's Eve.
Oh, I think that was New Year's Eve.
Yeah. Even when they tried to make her look frumpy and stupid, I was like, she's still hot. I think she's still hot.
Yeah, she's a very attractive woman.
I think she looks better than Evangeline, what's her name? Lily, who plays her daughter, Hope. Because that pixie outfit, that pixie hairdo she had, I know it was supposed to be homage to the actual comic book character, but that was not great.
Yeah, well, listen, you can't have it all. You can't have it all.
This is true. I mean, but we can't even, as viewers, have Ant-Man and the Wasp in the movie together throughout the movie. Like, they separate them immediately in the quantum realm.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, they did.
Like, Hope didn't really have anything to do in this movie except save Scott at the end, which was definitely like a reshoot. It felt like they actually maybe had the balls to kill Scott at one point, or at least trap him again in the quantum realm. And then they just pop back in and be like, we saved you. Oh, Kang's back. Let's beat him up real quick and defeat him, and then we're out again.
Yeah. I feel like this is just going to be a thing this year. Movies that just lose their balls right at the end. I mean, this is literally the second film that lost his fucking nuts. Like, right. You're just like, here we go. And then it's like, nope.
Yeah. This is not a great look for the MCU right now. I feel like I think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is going to be too far removed from the overall Kang arc that they're building up. I think that's its own thing. It's like its own closing chapter in those characters, right? And so what's the next one that we have connected to this would be Loki season 2, maybe, that's coming out within the next few months.
Yeah. That would be the next. And that's a direct connection. But like, you know, if you're watching Ant-Man 3, is like how much does it, entice you to want to watch Loki now?
I mean, I think for me, the post-credit scenes were the only exciting things about it, because all those different iterations of Kang, including Rama Tut, which is the Egyptian version of Kang, and that's rumored to be the main villain in what's Oscar Isaac's shit, Moon Knight, the main villain in season 2 from Moon Knight. So that could be interesting. But the same problem is, if we keep seeing Jonathan Majors get defeated as Kang, then what's the point of it's? I get it. You can never do another Thanos, right? Where you have this really impending like threat, and you don't know how bad of it, like how badass he is. But we keep seeing Kang get defeated by like our heroes, and I'm like our A-list heroes, but like C-list and below. How are we as an audience supposed to really fear this dude? Besides him being black.
So Ali, question for you here. So what do you think? What do you think they could have done for that last fight instead of just Ant-Man just getting plucked out of there and Kang, or also Kang just getting sucked into the second quantum realm? Like, I don't know what the fuck that was.
Yeah, that I was unclear.
Like what do you think a better outcome for that moment was? Like, whether it be, Scott actually getting killed, or like, what do you think was a better outcome for that? Your opinion.
All the scenarios that you just mentioned, I think he should have just got out at this point. It'd probably been better. See what he would have done if he got out. As far as being sucked into like another quantum realm, that's confusing. That whole part, I'm like, so did they defeat him or what? Like, it's gonna have all these other versions of him trying to get out or something. As far as, I don't know, man, they could have just killed Ant-Man or just let him out.
So this a part of me looks at like that scene, and I'm kind of like, maybe they, if they just escaped, and then Kang is still there, but then you realize they didn't really defeat him. Like, yeah, the ants drew him away, but like he's still there and he's still good. I think that could have been fine for me, and I've been like, oh yeah, they got they got away from him, but he's still there, and he's fucking pissed. I feel like that's a better ending.
Yeah, that would have made the tag when Paul Rudd's like doing the it's like the mirror of the opening when he's doing the inner monologue and stuff, like, everything's great. I'm Scott Lang. I wrote a book. At the end, he's like, everything's great again. Wait, is Kang dead? Like, should I be worried? That would make a lot more sense if we didn't see Kang like literally get sucked up into whatever the fuck else is next in the realms, because this is Kang said he was banished to the quantum realm by the other Kangs because he was so dangerous.
Yeah.
Right. So you're telling me Ant-Man, out of all the characters in this fucking catalog right now, is the one that took him out? Would Hope just happening like that to help him out a little bit? Like, I was like, come on, man. Like, they had a woman that was going in apparitions that beat the shit out of them in the last movie. All she could do was go through walls, and she was beating the dog shit out of them. Jonathan Majors stomped Ant-Man's face harder than Thanos punched Iron Man's mask. Broke the mask, and he's like, he shouldn't be able to live. I was just frustrated.
I also think like they didn't really set up Kang for us to understand why he's dangerous and where his powers come from. Because we know nothing. Yeah. We literally know nothing about Kang. How is this motherfucker doing fucking force chokes and shit like that? Like, how was that happening?
We know nothing about the quantum realm and its capabilities and the technology, because apparently, they allude that the rings from Shang-Chi are from the quantum realm now. Yeah. And so, but I'm like, but who's creating this realm? Like, who owns this shit? You know what I mean? It's so confusing, bro. And so it's like, if there's a bigger being above all this, then we need to be introduced to that sooner than later at this point.
Yeah.
But I really worry about Kang Dynasty, because the same screenwriter that did this is also doing Kang Dynasty. Jeff Loveness, he's doing Kang Dynasty. And between that and having the director from Shang-Chi, who I think did a great job with that movie, I am really worried about, I don't know how many Avengers they're going to try to bring into that Kang Dynasty movie. But if this is how they just handle these characters, I can't imagine putting Shang-Chi and Spider-Man and the folks from Wakanda and shit like that, and making it make sense. I really like UB in the chat says Blade question mark. I'm like, I hope I keep Mahershala as far away from this dog shit right now as possible.
Well, I mean, it seems Mahershala has his own issues going on right now, so like, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, Marvel's going through a rough transition period. They just got rid of one of the executives that's been around since the beginning of the films. And she was really about diversity and inclusion, but apparently she was also behind the VX teams. So it's kind of like, you know. But Ali, where would you like to see? Where would you like to see the MCU like course correct on this? Like, obviously, we haven't gotten your final thoughts, but where would you like to see the next movies take you to get you hyped for a Kang Dynasty?
Well, like you said, Guardians of the Galaxy doesn't really pertain to the whole Kang situation. What's the movie? Any movies after that? What movie comes out after that one? Besides after Guardians?
I think it's not.
I think
the Marvels. The Marvels.
Yeah, that's one.
The Captain Marvel sequel.
I'll just have to see. I didn't really like the first Captain Marvel movie too much, and so I'll just see how that goes. Deadpool 3, yeah. Deadpool 3 is going to be pretty interesting. I definitely expect that to probably be a good movie. Ryan Reynolds, they're bringing back Hugh Jackman, so yeah, we can expect some surprises in that. I'm just going along for the ride. The last movie came out, November sometime last year. So
yeah, that was Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been some time. So I think this was a decent introduction into Phase 5 as far as Jonathan Majors. I think he did good. The movie was long. I'm still confused about a lot of parts that you mentioned, but especially the time, because they were down there for a while. And then it's just like, I'm like, so he went back to the coffee shop, and I'm like, all right, was there a time jump? What happened? It just seemed like they went right back to normal.
Wow, that's a really good point, because they were there. Like, we obviously have no concept of time in the quantum realm. Like, we don't know what's morning, what's night, what's day. But yeah, they were down there. Like, even if they were down there, let's say in real time for the 2 hours that we spent with them, Scott Lang was in the quantum realm for 5 hours, and that ended up being 5 years. So in theory, to your point, Ali, wow, like it should have been 2 years later.
Correct.
Holy shit. Yeah, that continuity doesn't make any sense.
Like, what's going on? I didn't like the ending too much when he's walking down, like you said. They redid the monologue or whatever. I'm just like, I didn't like, it was just like, whatever. But I did like, shout out Jonathan Majors, because I do like it. He's coming up, man. He got this gig with MCU. So we can only expect, great things. This might not have been the best version, but I expect him to come back. You know what I mean? This version, I expect to come back somehow. I don't think he's dead.
Okay.
Somehow, some way, we're going to see him maybe in Kang Dynasty come back and try to take over. You know what I mean?
I was thinking that too. Like, they could bring this iteration of Kang back in like a more vicious way. Like Justin said, like he has an axe to grind. Like, pretty much against the Van Dykes though and Scott. It wouldn't really be against the other Avengers, but if he has in fact killed other Avengers in different timelines, then it would be cool to see this iteration go fucking balls to the wall and actually kill motherfuckers. Because in this, I was expecting at least like Hank to get killed or die. I'm like, no one died.
Thank you. Well, no, like I'm sorry. Why am I forgetting what you call it? Michelle Pfeiffer's character's name.
Hope. Wait.
Hope.
Janet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I thought that Janet was going to get killed. I mean, she literally just entered the cast. Is like the last one in, first one out. But like it makes total sense to me that she would be the one that dies.
You can't kill Michelle Pfeiffer though.
No,
I'd rather Hope die than Janet right now, because Janet has more important information. Janet lived in the quantum realm, and so and spent years with Kang. So if there's anyone you want to have the knowledge from, that's probably why they kept her hush hush, because they're like, we gotta keep Michelle on for at least 2 more movies.
Well, but that's why she dies. You take the person out who knows the most, and now they're in some shit, and there's not somebody that's going to be able to save them or give them the context that they need. You know what I'm saying? So again, balls. They need to have balls enough to pull these things, to just like, all right, this person's gone. And it's like, yeah, but she knows. I was like, of course, yeah, she's dead. It's like, now you don't have that to fall back on. You don't have the fucking scientist who's going to save the day. You got to figure some shit out. And you got this dude in Kang who is now pissed off in the quantum realm, and he's trying to find his way out.
Yeah. I was very surprised by how much of a mess this was. I didn't have any expectations really when I went to go see this, and I actually saw it as a press screening. And shout out to the For All Nerds crew. DJ Ben Hamid was actually on the train with Tati and I going back to Brooklyn after this movie, and we both just stared at each other and we were like, "That wasn't good. Like, what happened?" Because it had all the ingredients of an interesting story, but when you give us what you gave us and then don't even give us the stuff that worked in the last Ant-Man movies, like no Michael Pena. I get that T.I. is in trouble, but they brought the voice of David Dashman, who was one of the members of that crew. He did the voice of the Jelly Dude, who like helped during the final battle, or whatever the fuck. But I'm like, they brought him back, but you couldn't bring Michael Pena even to do a recap of everything we just fucking saw at the end for Scott's birthday. Like, that could have been funny. Like, do something. Like, it's just so frustrating that they introduced such a cool character that does a really fun way of storytelling and recapping it for the audience. And then, like, they better bring him back for like Kang Dynasty to catch everyone up on what the fuck happened. Like,
wait, what do you mean T.I. is in trouble?
Remember, T.I. had all that like legal issues, and that's why I think he was in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but that's why like he wasn't coming back for Ant-Man 3. Him and Tiny got accused of like doing something with children or something.
Wait, T.I. was in Ant-Man too?
Yeah, he's part of that crew of Michael Pena.
Oh yeah, that's right. But yeah, just mark that nigga out. Nobody wants to see T.I. anyways. He's trash. He's a trash human being. Who cares? Just get rid of T.I. Like, Mike, you don't have to scrap Michael Pena. I mean, but yeah, we don't know why Michael Pena wasn't in this film. He could be working on something else and he doesn't have the time. You know, those things kind of happen in the business, but you know, it can't be because of T.I.
Or they were like, there's no Spanish people in the quantum realm. It's like fucking mad, like the quantum realm's like racist to south of the border and shit for some reason. Shout out to William Jackson Harper, by the way, who played that Mind Reader dude. He was in A Good Place, fantastic actor, but also wasted in this movie. Like, I felt all the things with the characters in the quantum realm that Scott and Cassie met. I was like, this isn't going to lead to anything. Like, we're not going to get enough time with these characters, so it's kind of like, why do I care? Just so we can see them at that final battle, rush and fight against Kang's army. Which is, why does Jenna have to keep this a secret if literally everyone in the quantum realm was like, yeah, Kang pretty much took over since you left.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Don't know.
This is
I don't know. I don't know anything about this film.
I mean, was this like, is this a family movie or is this just, I had no idea what the tone they were going for. You guys are family men. You both have children. Like, did this feel like a movie you could bring your kids to?
I mean,
I
don't know. Go ahead, Ali.
I don't think my daughter would care for this movie. You know, I don't know. I think it's maybe for teenagers and older. You know, diehard MCU fans. Yeah, like you said, it's been what, the last movie came out 5 months before, something like that. So everyone was just waiting to, you know, see something.
So I think if you're kind of giving it, you know, well, because they went completely Star Wars with this, but it is not like it was really promoted that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think this was aimed at families, because also there are a lot of jokes and things like that that you're just not going to get, and the whole quantum realm speak and things like that. It's going to go over kids' heads. You know what I'm saying? So like, I really don't know who this film is for, but like, I do know like the film's second weekend, it dropped off 69%, and for good reason.
Yeah.
It's
the first time. Yeah, it's the first time in a long time. And I get that a lot of people, and I felt this a little bit too with Black Panther Wakanda Forever with the Julie Louis-Dreyfus storyline. You're like, okay, this is clearly setting up Thunderbolts and other shit, right? But this is the first movie where it felt like a placeholder in the MCU. Like, it's just simply to get a taste of how badass Jonathan Majors will be as King, but it didn't move the needle either way, because at the end of the day, Scott ends up exactly where he started. There's no real growth in Scott. There's no real growth that I saw in Cassie either. It's just Cassie knows, hey, maybe I shouldn't fuck around with things I don't understand. But even then, she's still confident that she like can, use the technology for the better good. Like, there's no growth at all in any of these characters. So I'm like, at the end of the day, why do a threequel for a character if it's not going to progress them and grow them? They're like, the one thing I did appreciate about God and Love and Thunder with the Thor movie is that it gave Thor some growth. It gave Thor family now, right? So even though I hated that movie, at least it ends with him different than where he started. Whereas this one, I'm like, what did Scott learn? He literally was like, things are good again. Oh, are they? I don't know. Back to comedy. I'm gonna have a birthday party. Like, what?
Yeah.
Even Paul Rudd couldn't save this movie, and he's charming as fuck.
Yep.
And he looks great too. He's like 50 something, right?
Somewhere around that.
Does he drink like dragon blood instead of fucking vitamin water? Like, because he looks better than he did in the 90s when he did Clueless, but not old enough where like he's like gray and weathered like a Michael Douglas, obviously.
Well, he's 53.
Jesus.
He's 53 years old. And I also didn't realize he was from Passaic, New Jersey. Wow. Okay.
Hey, success can come out of all the states, apparently. There you go.
Apparently so. Even New Jersey.
Yeah. Now, you
So
in the
Paul
chat
Rudd knows full well about the strip clubs out there in Passaic on Main Street.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. UV in the chat wrote down Doctor Strange movie gave us the multiverse. And that's another issue I'm having right now with the MCU and its storytelling. There's fucking different directions. Like, there's different rules to all the multiverses that we've seen so far. Spider-Man No Way Home established different rules in the multiverse. Then Doctor Strange kind of mixed that up even further, and now we have Ant-Man and Kang talking about multiverses. It's getting very muddy, and for the average moviegoer, if we can't even keep up with this, and we watch these movies pretty closely, I don't understand how the average moviegoer at this point is like, yeah, I'm still going to invest in this multiverse saga. I think it's getting too convoluted. So by the time we get to Secret Wars, which is supposed to be like blow the fucking roof off of Endgame, I think it's going to be so messy that people are going to know which way is up.
So for the people who don't know, Brandon, can you explain like the different rules to the multiverse, set up by Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and everything like that?
Yeah. So Spider-Man essentially alludes that there's an ability to pull things from different multiverses, and then you can send them back changed, but not changed enough where it'll drastically change that multiverse. You know what I mean? Because I'm think about it, like if Amazing Spider-Man and the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man characters, those villains are turned good, and then they go back to their universe as good versions of themselves before they died. I imagine that has a huge butterfly effect on those multiverses. And that's different. I mean,
they have to die regardless.
Yeah, but then they do, but maybe not under like the villainous circumstances that they initially did. So then that changes a lot of things that would have happened before or after, right? Same thing with and the UV pointed out Loki too talks about multiverse. So in that, it implies that the decision of one person in one multiverse can have ramifications across the entire spectrum, which is why when female Loki stabs he who shall not be named, he's like, if you kill me, all bets are off in regards to protecting the multiverses. Right. It's like all these different rules that are constantly like contradicting each other. So either they needed to have one person architecting the whole fucking MCU multiverse, which is what I thought they had done with Endgame. I thought Endgame was a way for like, when they had to go to different timelines, they were starting to like kind of figure out, all right, if we're multiverse is next, how does that work within the rules that we're establishing here? Yeah. And then Doctor Strange, like I said, again, this is just like they're floating through different multiverses, but there's no dire consequences for any of them. Like, it was just really frustrating. The only way that could have worked for me in this, in being in keeping continuity, is that they looped it in with What If, that amazing Doctor Strange episode where he essentially is going to all the timelines to find the one that has Rachel McAdams' character still alive.
Yeah.
I thought that's what we were leading up to. I thought that was going to be the big bad of that movie. I'm like, oh, it's just another Doctor Strange that we have yet to meet.
Yeah.
Versus the one that we were told, hey, watch What If show. Yeah, I don't know. Yuvia mentioned in the chat, maybe they could have used America Power. That was the young woman from Doctor Strange.
Yeah. That
who was
that
supposed
can
to be
jump through. Yeah.
But she was supposed to be that for Spider-Man, apparently, before they replaced her with Doctor Strange. So there's, I don't know, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, even talking about this, I'm getting exhausted.
There should have been a lot of.
What'd you say, Ali?
There should have been a lot of incursions already. Like with
for real, yes, yeah.
1/6 that should have caused an incursion. Doctor Strange, going to 818 or whatever, that should have been an incursion, caused an incursion between our two universes. So, and then in this, I think it's just aspects of the multiverse. Like, this is like a grand scale, like, oh, we're trying to control the multiverse. As far as like what Doctor Strange and Spider-Man end up doing are more like interacting with it. You know what I mean? On a smaller scale. So, they're setting up the spells, and they're, like you said, they changed the villains, and that could set up a whole alternate timeline for that universe now, a whole nother branch. Because, like you said, so many ramifications of them being alive. Especially they're all scientists, and all of them have their own technology.
Exactly. Exactly. Everyone's a scientist in the MCU and shit.
King, or he who shall not be named, or whatever. They're trying to control everything, hovering over the multiverses. And like you said, it gets convoluted when you have all these interactions. When incursions should have technically already happened. There should have been time jumps in Ant-Man 3. It's messy right now. They haven't really been hitting with these past few movies, besides Black Panther. But we have to wait. To find out what's going on.
Yeah, and like going to reiterate Justice's point about this movie not having any balls, like when they're in the quantum realm and Scott has the multiple like Scott Langs that are like, it's different, like they're in Ant-Man uniforms, one of them is in like the Baskin-Robbins uniform he worked in. I thought it would have been a great twist, but again, MCU, they don't have the balls to do this. A great twist would have been that the MCU Scott Lang is still in that pile of clones, and that a different Scott Lang is now taking place of Ant-Man. Like, I think that would have been interesting, and it had like some interesting consequences down the road. But to your point, Ali, I think this is where they really fucked up by not having, and I get Kevin Feige, he's like kind of he's the conductor of this whole thing, right? But I think they fucked up with not having an architect or a consistent writer for all these multiverse stories. Because think about it. If you go back to Loki, right, with the who shall not be named. So there's a theory that when Jonathan Majors has the like whoa moment, like there's like a moment where he's like, wait, I don't know what's going to happen from now on. That syncs up perfectly with WandaVision, where she changes the timelines to try to find her kids, right? And so between that, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange, which all take place in the same universe, the multiverse should be so broken and fucked up at this point, like just from this one universe, right? And so I think for me, that's where like I'm like nothing matters at the end of like
with the Doctor Strange, the Spider-Man movie, when the universes were colliding, when all of them were trying to get in, and the crackle that synced up too, or something like that. So, I don't deep dive like that, but, like you said, it's going to get really convoluted if you have to do all that just to make sense of what's going on.
I think they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. And it's just not, I think, UVA said, I'm just waiting for X-Men. I think that's the end game. No pun intended. I think if Kevin Feige is smart, they're going to use the Secret Wars to reset everything and just start from scratch, like where you focus on X-Men maybe for 5 years, just X-Men. because there's enough characters where they could just have an MCU focus on X-Men.
Yep.
And Fantastic Four. You just do those two properties for a long time, and then you slowly start bringing back Spider-Man, like Miles Morales, and then other characters you have access to, but
Not
they
really.
gotta wrap
So
some of this shit up.
no, so this is what's going to happen. They're going to reset it with the X-Men, and then the big setup is going to be the X-Men versus the Avengers. So that's what they're working towards. Because if they're not working towards X-Men versus the Avengers, what are they working towards? Because also X-Men versus the Avengers is also going to set up a Marvel Civil War, which is again pretty much X-Men versus the Avengers, you know, going with like the mutant registration and everything like that. So then now we're going to get more into the era of like, you know, this is like a political kind of thing, you know, and there's the two factions, and you know, obviously the Avengers choose, you know, the government side, and the X-Men are against it. So the X-Men are going to be more of like you know, like a guerrilla group or something like that.
But we've already seen something like that, though. We've already seen that in Civil War, kind of.
Yeah, but you haven't seen it all formidable adversaries, because the Civil War is just like, yeah, Tony and Cap, they weren't getting along. But we're talking about two people who survive in the same world. Neither of them are villains, but they're completely torn apart due to the fact that there is this big thing that someone's doing, that which is going to affect one side, and what the other side is not necessarily viewing them, you know, is not looking at. Well, basically it's like is almost like a race war, if you want to look at it that way. But like that's essentially what it's going to come down. It is similar, but it's different. But Civil War, you know, basically, you know, that was basically like, oh yeah, superheroes have to be registered. They kind of stole the whole mutant registration thing and just used it for
superheroes.
For superheroes. But you know, the mutant registration, it goes a lot deeper, and you know, it's more about like human rights type of thing, as opposed to just being, it's like, okay, well, you're, you know, you got powers, so you know, you should be held to a different standard.
I just have a big plot hole in the MCU from Civil War. Tony was all about the registration, right?
Yeah.
So how the fuck was Spider-Man's identity still secret?
What's that?
If Spider-Man was on Tony Stark's team, wouldn't Tony be like, "Hey, Peter, you gotta reveal yourself, bro. Stop hiding behind your outfit." Like,
no, you remember? No, because you remember, Tony went. Well, it wasn't necessarily
it
at
feels
that
a little
point.
contradictory, you know?
No. So, Tony felt, so the superheroes, they wanted them to be a part of like the government, and their sanction of it under the government and everything like that. It wasn't necessarily about registration in the same way that like mutant registration is. So it wasn't about revealing your identity. But Tony, because he revealed his identity, he was, you know, kind of, you know, at the forefront of being held accountable for anything that he does, or, you know, or anything that goes wrong as far as the law or just public opinion.
You know what sucks is I read for Secret Wars that they're setting it up for Tom Holland's Peter Parker to be the central figure that kind of brings it all together. But that's a bit frustrating, because it sounds like they're trying to do their own Spider-Verse in a way, like a live action Spider-Verse, versus you could easily do this with Miss Marvel. To go to your plot, Justin, with the conflict between the X-Men and the Avengers, use Kamala Khan. Use her character. She's young enough where she feels torn between, because they reveal that she's essentially a mutant in the series.
Yeah.
So she could be in between, and she's like, you know, the central plot point, central thing that takes us between both worlds. But they're gonna do the commercial thing, go with Spider-Man. But it's just, I don't know, man. This is the first time where I'm like, after God, you know, Thor, Love and Thunder, and now this, and even like the way they shoehorn that Thunderbolts subplot into Wakanda Forever, I'm kind of like, I don't know, man. I don't know how excited I am after Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, and you know, there's the talk about how Marvel is going to kind of pull back from doing like, you know, the three-peats and things like that. Yep. And you know, so like,
for good reason.
Yeah, things are changing. Things are changing.
Yeah, it's if it wasn't so obvious that they're clearly building up for a young Avengers with like Thor's daughter and stuff like that, like it would be, I think I would be a little bit more excited. But so much of the stuff seems so forced now and so like on the nose, it's kind of diluting any element of surprise. That's why when things like Miss Marvel are actually fun and like different, you're like, oh shit, that was a cool thing. Like
Yeah.
I don't know like how Ironheart's gonna be. I hope it's good. I think that young actress, she's very promising, the one who played Riri Richards, but um I'm looking to see what they do with Fantastic Four and the casting. We're gonna hear about that. Because that director, like, he's okay. Like, he did like some cool episodes of WandaVision, but like they really got to start. They got to start hitting on all cylinders. I'm talking effects, story, uh, character development. I think they need to pull back from the snarky shit, like from trying to be funny all the time. I think that that's also been a detriment to them. Like everyone has to be a fucking commentator and like be snarky like Tony Stark. It's like not every character needs to do that.
Yeah. Well, but then that also kind of pulls away from those characters who do have that, in them. So it's like if everybody's doing it, then when does it stop? Is this like, is this a comedy or is this a superhero movie with actual grand stakes to it, which can be dramatic, which should be kind of taken dramatic, and then now everybody's sitting there fucking snapping at each other like they're the fucking Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
think
the
that's the
movie I'm
problem.
looking forward to.
Yeah, that looks awesome. That looks great. Ali, like based on like the upcoming MCU docket, what movie coming up does excite you about the MCU? We talked a little bit about where would you like to see the MCU go, but regards to the movies and shows that are currently announced, what excites you the most?
I've been waiting for Blade since
Okay.
since it got delayed for the past 2 years, 3 years. So I think I'm waiting for that really to see what they do with Mahershala Ali. Maybe they bring Wesley Snipes in as a cameo, or an older Whistler. That would be cool. So that's the one that most intrigues me as a
Yeah.
movie. I know it doesn't pertain to the multiverse aspect, but as far as that goes, I like, Loki. I like Loki. So, season two, I'll definitely check that out.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for mostly the TV shows, X-Men 97, see what they do with that. See how that runs into the whole mutant versus, Avengers kind of scheme. Uh, Pretty much it. Like you said,
Yeah.
I'm just waiting. I'm not really, die hard for anything right now.
Yeah, it's a yeah, there's too many like Easter eggs and things you have to dig into right now to kind of get an idea of where they might be going. Like in UBS research, there's the Council of Kings post credit scene, and one of them has elements, a costume that has elements of the Scarlet Centurion, which is possibly the first Nathaniel Richards, which would be Reed Richards' father from Fantastic Four. So this dude might have some black ancestry. I know that Kevin Feige said they want to cast people of color primarily for the roles of the Fantastic Four. But like, I feel like at this point, you need to know too much about the comic books to be excited about what's possibly coming around the corner. I think there's just too much going on. I think I can tell that the actors are kind of getting tired too, man. Like, I feel like Paul Rudd read the script and was like, yeah, this doesn't really. He had more growth in Endgame when he came back from the quantum realm and saw the world fucked up, and he saw his daughter 5 years older. He had more growth in that like 6 minute sequence than this entire fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like he had a lot to work with in Endgame, and then this is the follow up movie he got. Like, if I were Paul Rudd, I'd be like, I might be done, guys. Like, I don't know if there's enough money for me to keep going to this if there's no creative um juices that that are flowing out of me for this. No one seemed excited to be in this.
And just looking at the docket here, like we got two years to get to Kang Dynasty.
Mhm.
And if that's the case, well, you got 2 years to get to Kang Dynasty, and then a year after that, is where we get Secret Wars. It's just like at that point, Paul Rudd's 55. Is he jumping in that suit again?
I mean, as long as he doesn't have to do a shirtless scene, I think he might.
I mean, but regardless, is like, at what point do you just like, okay? I mean, that's 2 years out. It's like, and what he's probably gonna have to pop up in another film, somewhere down the docket, to kind of keep him fresh and keep him at the, keep him in your mind, hearts and minds. It's like, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, what would have been really cool is if Scott was stuck in the quantum realm again, and then he doesn't come back out until Kang Dynasty.
Yeah.
And then he's the catalyst for them figuring out a way to like resolve whatever shit that Kang ends up blowing up in the next one. Like, I thought that would be a fun common thread through these like Avengers movies with Ant-Man. Because Paul Rudd's charming enough where he could do that job. I don't think there's anyone right now in the MCU who could pull that off and be recognizable to audiences and be like, oh, that's the guy. It's separate, I guess, Spider-Man, right?
Well, you know what?
But even then, people don't know who he is now.
But even if Paul Rudd and Janet got stuck there, or Hank Pym, like they got stuck there, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Is like, even if you gave him somebody else to get stuck there, and then Michael Douglas could die off screen. He could die in the in there.
Probably will.
No,
because of real life situations. He's old as fuck.
Yes,
and he ate all that pussy. He got throat cancer. He ain't doing well. The Catherine Zeta pussy juice has poisoned his throat.
Okay, Brandon. But what I'm saying,
she should put that shit in a bottle. She probably could sell it for a decent dime. I'd buy a bottle.
So all I'm saying is, he gets stuck in the quantum realm. Him and Hank, right? Hank, that's where he learns a lot from Hank, and he becomes more of a superhero, right? Hank dying in there would give him purpose and would then give him growth. So for him to come out during as the Kang Dynasty, that he resurfaces there, he gets to resurface as a different Scott Lang, and a Scott Lang that we can actually respect and see formidable, and to the point where if he then dies and that's his swan song, like you feel more from it, because Scott Lang's been through a bunch of shit. Because I mean, when he went into the quantum realm and came out, the snap happened and stuff like that, because of the time jump and everything, like for him it didn't seem like 5 years, correct?
Yeah,
no, he said it seemed like 5 hours.
Yeah. So like none of that really he didn't really learn anything with going into the quantum realm. He sat there for a bit and he came right back out. So you need to give him enough to where he's in there for whatever time, and there's shit going on, and then like now he has a whole a gang of people in there who kind of can explain all of this stuff to him and things going, and why Kang is so bad. So now he's working to get the fuck out of there, because he knows there's an imminent threat to the world that's actually outside right now, or there's more of them.
Again, given everything that the Lang, that Scott Lang and Janet and Hank have been through with regards to quantum realm, why the fuck would they help Cassie develop a device that can get them into the quantum realm?
Why would she send the signal into the quantum realm? What was she doing there?
If you know your dad was stuck there for 5 years, why would you even play around with something like that? Yeah. See, white women always destroying universes. they either bring out dinosaurs, they bring back Candyman, or they do some shit like this. Like, they have to be stopped. Shout out to all the white women. Subscribe to Patreon. Gentlemen, before we get to our to our personal ratings of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which again, Quantumania, I don't know why they had the tag. We got some Patriot thoughts. And remember, folks, if you sign up for Patreon at patreon.com/mediapopcorn, you're guaranteed to have your thoughts and reviews read on a future episode. So first we had Sean T, who wrote more like Ant Mid. Not Ant-Man, Ant Mid. Gotcha. That's what we do over Patreon. We be zinging motherfuckers. Darren
Damn.
Patterson. Darren Patterson wrote, Kang was a fantastic villain that deserved to be in a better movie. I kind of agree. I actually liked He Who Should Not Be Named or whatever better than this iteration of Kang. I thought that he was like way more fucking weird and like
He who
unpredictable.
He who remains.
Am
He should
I
not
doing
be named.
Voldemort? Am I doing Voldemort right now?
You Harry Potter nigga.
I mean, I think Voldemort would have been a better villain for this shit. It would have. All right. Anyways, and then CJ Jones wrote, Kane was that nigga, but the rest of this movie, other than Bill Murray being hilarious, this movie was ass. Couldn't really connect to any of the characters. I agree. I didn't even connect with Bill Murray's character because we still don't fully know what he did to Keke Palmer instead of that movie that got canceled.
You're right. You're right.
That's all I'm saying. It's like, I get Bill Murray as like a comedy god to, a lot of us. I consider him one of the greats, but at the same time, I'm not going to excuse that he might be a shitty person.
Yeah.
I mean, we've heard stories of other actors working with him and shit. There's a reason why him and Harold Ramis had beef until the man died.
Yeah.
And they never did their Ghostbusters together. Like,
well, I mean, that's also because Harold Ramis died.
Yeah, true. But that's why you got to like make amends before, someone can go. It's important to do that. Look at Dana Carvey and Mike Myers. They squashed their beef, I think.
I didn't even know they had a beef.
Oh, yeah. That Wayne's World shit. We should do Wayne's World and get into the trivia of that. There's like a huge fight between them about like who should be attributed, that success should be attributed to. Huge fight between the two of them.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. But Ali, we're gonna break down our rating system, and then you're gonna give us your thoughts on Ant-Man Quantumania. So Justin, break down our rating system, baby.
Stop calling me baby. So guys, we rate movies bags of popcorn, small, medium, large, and the XL for the exceptional. If a film doesn't deserve any popcorn, we throw it into the dog shit pile. We pile piles and piles of dog shit on top of it. So we sat down and watched Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, 2023 movie starring Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Jonathan Majors, Catherine Newton, Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, Bill Murray in there. Ali, you watched it. You on this podcast. What say you, sir?
It sounds like, you know what? I'm going to give it a small. I'm going to be generous, man. I know it's probably going to be dog shit. I'm going to give it a small. I like Jonathan Majors. That's my boy. It gave us, 10 minutes of information in 2.5 hours, though, honestly. The bits where Janet interacted with King.
That's really fair.
And then the end credit scene and post credit scenes. That's about it. That's the only thing we really needed from this movie. So I'm going to give it a small, though.
Okay. Brandon?
Yeah, I'm also gonna give this a small too. The post credits scene, I just thought about all the memes that were happening with Jonathan Majors. They called this nigga Frederick Douglass. But again, Loki, they're time jumping. So, anyways, but yeah, this gets a small. I thought that for a movie that's hyped to have so many stakes in regards to the MCU, it had literally none. Like we learned, again, no one really grew. We didn't learn much about any of the other characters because Janet was so secretive, even though everyone in the quantum realm knew Kang's story and how Janet helped him rebuild his ship and stuff. It was just very frustrating.
Die to keep that secret.
What's that?
What?
He was willing to let everyone die to keep that secret up until they got on that ship and was like, "Yo, can you just tell us? Like, yo, what's going on?" Up until that point, he was willing to just, keep your head low. Just follow me. But she was ready to just let them die.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing with her arc is like she was so secretive and everyone knew her shit that it's surprising that Bill Murray didn't just tell the whole family like, hey, this is, not only were me and your mom fucking, but also she fought the Kang, and Kang's this big bad dude who's also black and he's trying to take over the multiverse. It's like, I thought the secret was
he sounds like he's Asian, but he's not.
I thought the big twist was gonna be she had a bunch of Kang babies, because I'm like, oh, that could be interesting. Like, you know what I mean? Because then she's like hesitant to kill the dynasty that might threaten the whole multiverse. You know what I mean? But like you said, Justin, they don't have no balls, and they don't have nothing inside those balls, which would be sperm to create the King Dynasty. Justin, what's your rating?
Fucking hate you so much. So I'm gonna say this: if it were based off of the movie that this was hyped up to be, this is a bunch of piles of dog shit. But going off of the movie that we saw, I'm gonna give it a small. And I'm only gonna give it a small because I know that this is supposed, well, I guess I'm hoping that this is supposed to lead other places. And this is one of those stepping stone films. But is this a disappointment? Yes. What were there some cool things that you got to see in this Star Wars movie? I'm sorry. Ant-Man Quantumania film? Yes, there were, but was it enough to make this a coherent story that actually took this the mainline story that we're following here and progressing it to a next level where you're just like, oh, okay, what is this going to do for this? No. And so with that, like, I just don't know what's going. So I feel like this is one of those movies where people are going to go back to, they feel like, oh, okay, so this is why this makes sense. You know what I'm saying? But a standalone film is okay, but it's not like, I don't think it was terrible, but like it's not great, and it's just teetering, at the okay level.
You said a lot of words, but
I know. This movie had a lot of scenes, bro. This was 2 hours. This was 2 hours, and that's
he just. Like Ali laughed too, because I'm like, Justin just say words, but ultimately he just said it's just okay. Like you kept saying okay multiple times, but you kept adding.
No, but that's the thing, is like it's
I know you're
like
tired,
it's not
bro.
terrible,
you clearly
but
tired.
it's okay. It's okay, but it's like not good. It's just okay, and that's why it's small.
I want to talk to you like my grandfather talked to me, where I'd be like, it's either gonna be really good or really bad. He's like, that's everything. Like, what are you talking about? All right, folks, but it's not right, but it's okay. Ali, please tell the listeners any information you want to share with them. I don't know if you want to keep your socials private or anything like that, but if they want to hit you up.
Now, don't follow me though. What I do want to say is thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. The podcast is amazing. Y'all put out a lot of content. And to the supporters, the listeners, subscribe, Patreon, man. Check out their content. Get the merch, man. They've been growing ever since I started listening to them. Every year they level up, man. So just think about that and just help them do what they're trying to do. All right. Thank y'all.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Folks, you can follow me at American Collins on all the social media platforms, AmericanCollins.com for show dates. I got some cool things coming up, including the live read of The Tower of Simon, the script I wrote for Universal, happening on Thursday, May 24th. So tickets are available at AmericanCollins.com. And then you can follow the show at Medium P Podcast on all social media platforms. Be sure to go to youtube.com/Medium Popcorn, push that subscribe button so you get alerted about all future videos, as well as celebrity interviews that pop up on there. And Justin, if people want to follow you as well as support the show financially, what can they do, my brother?
Well, you can take yourself over to your socials and you can just type in Jay Brown Did It, and that's where you can follow me. But if you're looking for a little something extra, a little something special under your Christmas tree, not that this is coming out around Christmas, but you need to take yourself on down to patreon.com/medium popcorn. We have $2, $5, $10, and $15 packages on there. If you love this show, you don't even love this show yet. You're just like, but there's so much and I need more. You need to go to Patreon because we have so much content on there. That's the place to be.
Yes,
Justin's so tired. Justin's so tired. He just said, he was like, you want to put something on your Christmas tree? Like, you can't physically manifest the Patreon. Oh, right. But seriously, folks, go to patreon.com.
It's not a tangible Christmas tree, Brandon. This is a figurative Christmas tree. It was a present. It's all gifts, baby. The gift of
just
podcast.
like Violent Night. Violent Night. Oh, folks, definitely sign up for Patreon and then go to the $15 tier. Sign up for that. Listen to our Violent Night review. It's one of the craziest reviews and movies we've ever seen in this entire history of the show. So again, patreon.com/media and popcorn. Ali, thank you so much again for being a long time supporter of Media and Popcorn, as well as for joining us for this episode, man.
Thanks for having me, y'all. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Loving the twists.
Absolutely. And folks, in the words of Cassie Lang in one of the worst convincing monologues of all time, it's never too late to not be a dick. Peace.
Yes. Peace.